welcome to the Realty and Realty. I'm Jamesha.
And I'm Johanna.
And I'm Seneshia, and we are your hosts bringing you all the juicy tea about the real estate world.
Now, each episode, we're going to spill the tea on what it's like to be a realtor, share our experiences, give you some insights about the industry. But first things first, let's sip on some tea.
Yes, we've got our teacups ready. So today I'm drinking some
I love it.
dandelion tea.
Today I have some agave lemonade from Panera.
Ooh. And I am sipping on some fresh watermelon squeeze juice. So, all right, let's dive into today's episode. We're going to kick things off by introducing ourselves and share a little bit about how we all met and became realtors. So, let's start with how we met. Do you two remember the first time we crossed paths?
Yes, at La
Yeah.
Rosa,
Oh, yeah. It was a Thanksgiving video.
the basket brigade.
Yeah.
We were putting the baskets together for basket brigade.
Yes, so we all started off at La Rosa Realty, Jacksonville. I met Miss Shanisha first, and she introduced me to everybody I know. And Miss Joanna came along, and we have been inseparable since then. So that is so interesting.
Yes, I remember doing the editing. I was like, okay, so she must be the like the video editor.
Yes, and then you told me about CapCut, and
Oh,
then I
okay.
told you
Yeah.
about InShot, and then we just was sharing tips.
Yeah, and we were
And remember,
all
we
moving in the
hosted that
camera
social media
together.
class.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
That was a great turnout. Yes, it definitely was. Well,
Okay, I'll go to the next question. So here's a big one for all the realtors. Did you pass your real estate exam on the first try?
oh,
No,
Heck no.
it took me twice. Thank God for the school that I went to
What?
because they had a cram session and he taught you how to pass the test the next time if you didn't pass it the first time. So I only needed at least 2 points. So I only studied the section for me to get at least 2 more points. So, because you know that sheet prints out and it tell you how many questions
Mm-hmm.
you missed in that section and stuff like that. So he was like, don't go back and study the whole thing. Apparently, you know what you got right. Only study what you got wrong. And so he was like, depending on how many more answers you need to get it, to pass, focus on the section that will give you that. And that's what I did. I only needed 2 points, and I only needed two questions, and it was two sections where I missed two. So I just picked one of those and I passed it on my second time. I scheduled it for 2 weeks later, and I passed it on my second try.
And what about you, Miss Jana?
okay. So since I was usually good at taking tests, I said, okay, I don't even need to, go through the books, and I don't. I all I need to do is just, take it. I thought it was gonna be like common sense questions, so I just took it without even picking up the book or looking at anything. I just took it.
Wow.
And yeah, it was not that kind of test that you can just swing. You definitely had to read it. So the second time I took it serious and I said, no, I really have to go over this, over this material. And mind you, I had passed the school exam, like the one that they gave
Right.
at the end. I passed that one and I said, oh, this is I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why everybody complains that they can't pass? This is easy. But no,
Right.
it was not the same. So then the second time I still didn't pass because I didn't take it, like I didn't study enough. But the third time is a charm, and this time I definitely did go over everything. And then voila, I thought I really wanted to give up, but I went back and I looked at it. I said, imagine if I had given up.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very thankful that I did not give up.
Ooh, so two times, three times, y'all. It took me six times.
Oh,
Six times.
wow.
Like you Miss Shanice, I missed two. So I'm like, okay, let me study, take it again. The numbers just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if you guys know, but it's a test A and test B.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was so discouraged. I kind of gave it up, switched careers, da 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 da. And then when COVID came around, everybody had a lot of downtime. So I took the class again, Pro Florida. I took it online, and the way they have it set up, you have to take a test to get to the next section, and you can't finish the training until you
Yes.
pass with 100%. So I
That's
took the
how it
thing
is with
so
Florida
many
Real Estate
times.
Institute.
And that's how I got it. So I have an
Oh
MLO
wow.
test coming up, and I already know I have to test, or I'm not gonna pass. Six
Yeah.
times, y'all, but I'm here. So if you
Oh
see me
yes.
celebrating every little thing, it's because it took a lot to get here.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Okay, now if someone is listening to this and is thinking about becoming a realtor, what advice would you give them?
That's a good one.
So definitely interview brokerages.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a regular job that you go and you get interviewed. This is the kind of job that, or career, should I say rather, that you have to go and interview them. So make sure
Yes.
you have like a notepad, you have something to write on, and come armed with the questions that you want to ask them, like how are they going to help you get to the level that you want to get to in your real estate career.
Yes.
Who's it going to be, like how their mentorship program is, who's going to be able to speak to you if you need help, especially writing that first contract. Those are very important things that I did not know to ask when I was first licensed. So definitely those are important things to make sure you start off on the right path.
I agree.
Yes, and I agree. Real estate is not one of those jobs where you're gonna jump head in and make a lot of money right away. It's an
Mm-hmm.
investment. You have
Mm-hmm.
to work for what you want. It's not an easy job. It's not for the weak.
Mm-hmm.
People give up on real estate every day.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say if you're looking to make fast money, please don't become a real estate agent or a
Yeah.
realtor because it is definitely not instant gratification at all.
I agree. So I will piggyback from the both of you. I would definitely say interview, but to me, it doesn't matter what brokerage you go to. You want to look at the people that you're going to be around. So what little group are you going to form? Who's going to pick up the phone when there's a fire and you need to, put that fire out? Who's going to be like your go-to? And that could be people from different brokerages. So even if you are at different brokerages,
Good.
who is your team? Like who
Your
is
support
there?
system.
There you go, your support system. I will also say if you already have a job, keep it and do real estate part time before you switch over to full time. I think that was the biggest caveat that I needed to go back and tell myself because I was working part time and then I let it go. And then this is commission, you guys. So you don't fish, you don't eat. It could be a
That
week, it
part.
could be months, it could be quarters, and bills are
Yes.
still due. So that could be unnecessary stress. So you could hold on to your second source of income until you get that pipeline coming in. Once that pipeline is strong, let it go and you'll be good to go. So when you see some realtors online, yes, some people have a lot of clients and they're back to back and they're good to go, but that's not everybody's story. So you definitely
And
want to
it
make sure
takes time to get there,
yeah,
so.
yeah. So, or you might have a 401k, you might have a husband, you might have roommates, just as long as you are able to have somebody kind of support you until you build it up there, that would be my piece
And
of
if I
advice.
if I can just add also, when I first started real estate, someone along the way told me it's gonna take 3 months of consistent work, like just putting yourself out there and promoting yourself. 3 months, not 1 month, not two, 3 months. And in those 3 months, you're gonna hear a lot of no's, but by the end of the third month, you should at least get your first deal. And I followed that. Like I was a brand new agent, I followed that, and I got my first client 3 months after that. So
Oh,
that was true. I mean, as long as you don't give up and you stay consistent, it
mm-hmm.
is definitely possible. But I guess three is a magic number.
Mm-hmm. I
And I
agree.
would add to talk to the vets in the game that's been in the game 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. They'll tell you when you go to these open houses and stuff, talk to the agents. They'll tell you. I had one lady that tell me, she was like, you don't get consistent income until about year three. She was like, because you're planting the seeds. You have to nurture these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, yeah, she was like, it took me, she said, I would see money here and there. I would do deals here and there. But year three, I started seeing it more consistently. So I was like, okay. So, like I said, just take tidbits from, listen to people. The way they do things may not work for you. So everything is going to sound like great advice as a realtor because you don't know.
That makes
And,
sense.
and the other big thing is your test is nothing like real life.
Oh yeah. It's more so the laws. You're right, Miss Shanice.
Yeah. So you don't get a real taste of what being a real estate agent is until after you pass that test.
Yes, definitely. So, how long have each of you been in real estate? Let's share that.
So the first year I got my license, I did not hang it up anywhere. I didn't do anything with it, so I don't count that. I have been 2 years fully active in the real estate world. So 3 years on paper, but 2 years in action.
Am 2.5 years in. I'm 2.5 years into real estate.
Also, so I am also 2.5 years in, so I cannot wait until year three hits
Yes,
and this
that'll be a great milestone.
consistent flow kicks in. But yes, this has been very rewarding, and I love it. I love seeing, the families, the look on their faces, especially the first time home buyers. I love that,
Mhm.
the feeling to be able to help them with that.
And if
And
you
making
guys
an
don't
impact.
know, they say if you can make it to year three, you're good. So that's why we're
Yes, yes.
dreaming about year
Because
three.
most agents fall off in that first year.
Mm.
They just stop working. They don't see the money that they thought they were going to be making. And I've had several people say, if you're doing it for the money, you'll never make any money, or it won't work out, or something they were trying to say.
Yeah.
The point they were trying to make was do it because you love what you do and you want to do it. But that's with any job, that's with any career. If you're passionate about it, you'll see the fruits of your labor.
Absolutely. I agree because people are watching. They're watching you. So we'll go to the next question. So, did you guys always know that you wanted to be a realtor, or did you have another dream career before this?
So no, I never imagined or pictured myself being a real estate agent. I thought that you
Wow.
had to go to school for years for that because I'm like, you're selling people's homes. You have to really be, going to school and it's hard. And I really wasn't into that. But I always wanted to be a teacher, a school teacher. I love doing that. I used to tutor in high school. And now I get the pleasure of doing homeschool for my girls. That's a
Yes.
that's a whole nother topic, but
We'll
but
pin that for another episode.
yes, yes, but I that's what I really wanted to be, a teacher. But then I helped a family member move to Jacksonville, and I started looking at, through the homes, and I discovered that I just loved going through each home, and it didn't matter if they were new or old. I loved all homes. I loved the features, everything about them. And the agent that was helping us, he was like, "You really have a natural, like you could do this. Like you don't have to sell the homes. You just need to have the personality." And I never knew
Mhm.
that, or I didn't know that until he mentioned that, and I said, "All right, let me try and see how it goes." So that's how I started.
Yes.
So, as far as me, real estate has always been in the back of my mind. I have that moment where I'm about to do it, and then something happens in life, and then I have to detour and go a different route.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with me, the last time I came into it, let me rewind. I love open houses. I have always loved open houses. I would always go to them, see different things, get ideas of how I would want my house to look.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something that I just like to do. I would pick a day and I would pick so many houses and I would just go and look. I wasn't necessarily shopping, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see what was out there. That's just something I just love doing. And so when I got sick, I had to go out of work. I couldn't work. And so while I'm out, it's like, okay, let me find something that I could do, that I could work around how I feel every
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yep.
And my supervisor at the time had just went into real estate, and she was trying to get me to go. I'm in Jacksonville. I don't have family like that I could just get help from, so it's like just me doing everything. So I'm telling her, like, girl, I can't just stop working and wait on some money, have some money coming in, like I got kids. And so I got sick. I had to be out and I had to do something. So I studied and I took the test in between me being out. I was getting to a place where I was trying to see if I was ready to go back to work. And the kids was like, no, we are used to you being home. And that's what made me say, okay, well, let me figure out how to make this work.
I so love that. So for me, I remember as a little girl taking the cereal cardboard boxes and making like buildings, movie theaters, Barbie houses. So I was more so on the architectural end. So I was like, okay, I want to be an architect. And then somebody said, you have to be great in math. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's not, my favorite subject. So I dropped that. And then here I am, circle, go back around to it. So I actually wanted to be an architect, which is still in the real estate realm. But now instead of actually doing the blueprint for the homes, I'm selling the homes. So I thought that was interesting, like full circle.
Well, while we are on the topic of before real estate, what were you doing before real estate? Like, what was your career, or what job did you have before we got into the industry?
So I'll go. I was a customer service agent at the Internal Revenue Service, your favorite IRS. And oh my God, I was on the phones. It was great until COVID, you guys. Like, hey, Miss Shanisha, hey, Mr. Anna, your refund is on the way. Those were such happy, amazing calls. But when COVID came, people were, needing the money to stop eviction. They were needing the money to help bury their family members. They were needing the money just to survive this new climate. And we didn't have it, even though we were sending money overseas to fund the war, etc. So I was called everything but a child of God. It really took a toll on me. So you add your job stress, your stress, not being able to be around family and friends like you're used to, pressures of being vaccinated, and that wasn't a choice that I wanted to do. People dying, it just became too much. And I exited the industry. But while I was there, I was able to see all careers, you guys, nurses, doctors, realtors, teachers. I saw there were a lot of investors out there. I saw that even if you were a doctor, you could have a nonprofit and a business. And everybody that was wealthy had their hand in real estate. They owned property. And I remember speaking to a couple that was realtors, and I was like, I want to do real estate. And they were like, make sure you have some money set aside because we're retired and we have money coming in. So I'm thankful that I can bring the skills that I learned from the IRS and taxes and etc. on this side of the field. So I was at IRS before I switched over.
Okay, nice. So actually I was getting ready to do my hello because everyone kept telling me that I would really be really great at it. And I was already in the banking industry, but I didn't want to do MLO because like you didn't have interaction with people. Like you kind of sat in the back and you just had to approve or, not approve them. So that really wasn't something that I was passionate about. So then right after that, I had been a stay-at-home mom for a little while. And when my family member did reach out that they were looking to move, I really, like I said, I met that agent. He told me I would be good at it. And I said, this is something that also would fit into my schedule, with having kids. It was not a regular 9 to 5. I thought, silly me back then, I thought I could just set my hours, I'll be done with real estate at this time. Now I realize that real estate is a full-time thing. I don't know how anybody does it part-time, but it is a lot
Mm-hmm.
of commitment and you have to be available at all times. Like if you have to write a contract at 8 o'clock at night, you have to
Mm-hmm.
do that. Yeah, that has to
Yeah.
get done. So
Yeah.
it is a totally different, not like a regular job from what you're used to in the corporate world. But so now let's get into the fun stuff.
Oh
Why?
wait, Miss
Oh,
Shanisha, where were you before real estate?
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I forgot. I totally forgot I didn't say anything. I'm just listening to everybody's story. Okay, so I too was in banking. I worked at the credit union, and I really wanted to move up there. I was the lead in the branch, and I was considering going to. If I didn't move up inside the branch, I was going to go back office into something. What I wasn't sure yet. But a lot of things were changing in the branch. They were changing the way the positions were structured. And at one point, you had either a member service rep or a teller. I preferred to be a teller. I did not want to be a member service rep. I don't think my patience was long enough. And so I preferred the transactions at the window. We can key while I'm doing your transaction. And I had my repeat people that would come back. They always wanted to come to my line. They would wait on me. So I was very successful in what I was doing, but they were merging the roles together. And they were merging the teller and the member service rep, and you did everything. And I was like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
So I think it was like the metrics and things that you had to hit to as a member service rep. Those
Uh
things were
huh.
changing. Numbers were increasing, but we weren't having that kind of volume in the branch. So it was, it was a thing. And then my world kind of got rocked a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to go out of work. So I had to stop applying for stuff because I physically wasn't able to work at that time. So I was in banking. I did retail a long time before I got into the finance world. But I like finance. I love it.
Okay, so it looks like not everyone was dreaming about being a realtor, and that's okay. Knowing what you know now, is that something that you still would have pursued? What do you got? What do you think, ladies? Knowing the type of work that it takes to actually do our job as a realtor, would you have still? I just want.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think to me, I think everything that we've done in our life prepared us for this moment. Like we picked up different
yes.
tools and skills that make us great individually for the role that we're in now.
I totally agree. All those years of customer service skills, management skills, negotiation skills. I was in a lot of positions where I had to offer other things.
Mm, okay.
So even in retail, I had to offer the credit card, offer the rewards card. In banking, I had to, depending on what you were talking about, hey, do you want to see a loan officer to see if you can get a mortgage? Did you want to sit down and talk with someone about getting a new car because they've been in there talking about their car keeps breaking down? And so I had to learn how to be able to upsell. I had to learn how to be able to suggestively sell, if that makes sense, because that's really what we're doing as agents. We're
Mm-hmm.
suggesting certain properties
Yes.
and letting them pick what they want. And that's what I've done all my life in every role, almost every role that I've worked in. I've been suggestively selling something or offering something. So, as she said, I think all the stuff that we've done in our past have made us perfect for the real estate world. Now we just got to tailor it to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very nicely said. It's all come together to prepare us to do what we have to do now. So now let's get into the fun stuff. Why real estate? What drew you to this career? What is your why?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'll go first. So I'm in school as well, you guys. It's starting to get to me. um, but being very passionate about my past and my history. Native American, Cherokee, and African American. When I do the research and pull in class, we have to pull journals, you guys. And these are like 30 to 100 pages, and it's giving details and histories about, our country. And real estate is the number one industry of making wealth. But as I'm doing my papers, and it hurts my heart, these are the papers that I have to write. African Americans are absolutely last. We're last for being pre-approved for loans, or last for home ownership. The wealth gap is insane, and it also affects your health. You guys, I just finished a paper on that. It affects your mental, your physical. It's not just money. It affects your body and your health, and the lifespan that you can have. So tying those two together, I wanted to, why aren't we being approved for these homes? Like, what's going on? So me tapping into the industry, I do get a lot of no's, but I go to bat for every client that I have. In the rental world, it's like, yes, you might have previous eviction, but what can we do to get this client in? COVID happened. They could have lost their job. They could have been hospitalized. They can put a little bit extra down for the deposit. What can we do to get them in? And I love turning those no's into yeses. And then some people think they cannot be a homeowner. They've just rented. Everybody in their family has rented. My parents are the first ones in my family to own a home. So it is not even something that some people are used to. So just changing that narrative and helping people open that gate to home ownership to build wealth for themselves and for their family. Like that why is so heavy for me when I think of myself. so many doors were open for me and my siblings, all because my parents owned a home. I was able to go to college. My dad took us to the car lot and bought three cars at once. We were in a good neighborhood. Just so every job that I've had, it all stemmed from their choice of being homeowners for their family to give their children a better future. And if it weren't for that, y'all, I cannot say that I will be here today. So I want to continue that by helping others become, homeowners, my family, my friends, and everyone else. So this why is so deep for me.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I agree. I think being able to educate people and change their mindset. Some people may not have even ever thought of purchasing a house because nobody in their family has ever purchased a house. So being able to talk to people and try to change that mindset. My biggest why everybody knows is my kids. I am a supporter and an advocate and a diehard mom. I want my kids to do this. I want my kids to be great. I want my kids to see a level of life that I didn't get it to experience, that a lot of kids are never really exposed to unless your family, past family, has already been on that level. So I'll do everything in my power, broke and all. Let me not speak that over myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Low on cash and
Mhm.
all,
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
put my kids in situations around people in certain environments
Yes.
that can elevate them. I explain to them how important it is for me to instill into them at the age that they are, so when they're at my age they're able to relax, or they're in a career, or they're where they want to be at in life versus waiting until their 40s and 50s to figure it out.
Mhm.
I don't want them to wait that late. I want them by the time they get to a certain age,
Yes.
they're ready to have those kids. They're not working two and three jobs to make
Yes.
ends meet. Like,
Yes.
when I say I really focus on how can I help their life be better for their kids
Mhm.
and their kids to come, like I really, really push that. So that is my why.
I love that.
Yes, and I think
And what
it's
about
really
you, Miss Johanna?
important. Yeah, I really think it's important, especially in our, like, I love helping everyone, but it gives me such a joy to be able to see people like me, people that don't know
Mhm.
the English language,
Yeah.
that they're really struggling and they want to have the same American dream that
Mhm.
everyone. They just don't speak the language. They
Right.
have money. They go to work, but they're just stuck renting because they have nobody to help them. And starting real estate, I thought, okay, I met a lot of Spanish agents, but what really caught my attention was they all would tell me, the agents, like, no, we don't work with other Spanish people because it's just too much work. Nobody wants to be bothered. And these are
Wow.
like some of the top agents that said that to me, and I was like, wow. I said they
Mhm.
really need my help, and it's not, to me. It's not about. I'm not running after the $1 million deal. Like, everybody that they come into, like,
Yeah.
real estate, they want to do luxury. I'm running after that family that has been told no, that you're always going to be renting, or can have a home, or they don't think that it's possible. That's what I'm
Mhm.
going for. I want to tell you, yes, it is possible, and I'm here to help.
Mhm.
And if I can't help you buy a house now, in the next month, I will definitely prepare you and give you the tools that you need, for you to be able to make that home buying, decision when you're ready. It's just because it's a no now doesn't mean it's not a no forever. And that's
Yes.
Exactly.
important, and I'm passionate about. Like, if someone says it can't be done, I want to do it. I want to tell you guys, no, I'll make a reel about it. I'll go live. Like, I want to be able to say, yes, you can do it. And I want to break a lot of barriers because in our community, we definitely need it. And
Mhm.
I think, a lot of us are overlooked, and people are like,
Yeah.
no, they'll just keep renting. No, we need to
Yes.
get together. We need to help, each other so that we can have, generational wealth that we can pass down to our children, to our
Yes.
family. I think that's really, really important, and that's what drives me to keep going, because it's not always easy, but that really drives me to want to do this and to make a difference in people's lives.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And your why should be heavy, guys, because if it's not heavy enough, you'll end up going another route. So when you think of realtors and commission only, like we're here because of that why. Like we are really leaders and we really want to promote change within our community. So that was great, guys.
Absolutely. And let me say, not all realtors are created equal. Sorry.
Period.
So I got so
No,
emotional, but I have to say that not all realtors are created equal. Okay.
definitely not.
Because yes, what you get from me, what you get from Jamaica, what you get Seneshia, we're all here to help you, and we're gonna do our best to help you. But we all have our different style. And from me, my own experience when I was trying to look for a home,
Mhm.
I had this agent tell me, "Hey, you can only buy a home on a Monday or a Tuesday because I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, and only before 5 o'clock, but not before 9." Like it was crazy.
Yes,
I
yes.
was like, "What in the world? Like,
Oh
what?"
Now
my
we
god.
do have to set business hours,
Uh-huh.
but everything doesn't need a conversation. If you
Yeah.
shoot your text, "Hey, I like this house,"
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on it.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I respond right back to you. Let me rephrase that. I will respond back to you. Okay, thank you for sending it to me. I'll add that to the list.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna
Mhm.
just brush you off. You'll get some kind of response. And if I
Right.
don't answer the phone, I'm responding in a text because a lot of times we're in trainings, we're on Zoom calls, we're in
Yes.
meetings, and we just can't be right by our phone. But I can shoot you a quick text. I just can't verbally stop what I'm doing and talk to you on the phone. So I will send you a message. I will let you know that I received it. I will let you know, thank you. But you know, some people just they won't even respond to
Yes.
you to let you know that they even got your message until the next business day
Yes.
during the business hours.
A
Yeah,
little
you
like
want to make sure that you
really important.
feel valued and important and not just another number, not just another commission check.
Yes. Yes. Definitely acknowledgement, and we all have our lives, but if you acknowledge someone, it makes them feel like they matter. And they do.
All
So
right, so here's the juicy part, guys. What has been your best transaction ever? That one that just felt so amazing.
I don't have a best. Each one is different.
Okay,
So it's a different, each family has been different, each situation had been different. I think my closest relationship, even though I had a relationship with everybody,
yes.
was this one lady that I helped, and we had been going through the same thing with cancer. Like we
Oh,
had cancer at the same time, we went into remission at the same time. Like it was
wow.
crazy coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
And she was moving, and then her mom decided to come down. She really wanted her mom in the house with her. So we had already decided on the house, and I think we had already did the contract on the house. No, we had she told them that's what the one she wanted. She wanted a particular lot. And when her mom came into town, her mom picked out a completely different house and she switched it. But
Oh,
she switched it so that her mom can have her own space.
okay. That makes sense.
So, yeah. And it was the house that she thought her mom wasn't going to like because it was a 2-story. It's the house that her mom picked out.
Okay.
And so, a lot of people don't think along the lines like that. Let me move my mom in here
Yeah.
so she doesn't have to worry about having to do anything or worry about bills or anything like that. I'll just move her in with me. Now, mind you, her kids are grown, so it wasn't like she needed her there for help. So, but each one of my transactions have been different. They've been special in their own way. And so I don't really have a favorite transaction.
Okay, that's fair. I agree. And what about you, Miss Joanna?
yes, they are all special and different in their own ways. I thought when you did real estate, they were all the same, and no, I've never had two two of the same ever. It's always something different. But I would say the one that sticks in my mind and is special to me is when I met this family. They actually called up to see a home, and they weren't pre-approved or anything. They didn't even speak English, and a realtor called me and said, "Hey, can you help them? They only speak Spanish, and they're looking at this home." So then they put him on speaker, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been trying to buy a home for the longest, but I can't find anybody that can help me because I don't speak English."
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, "Okay, so let's talk, and we'll meet that house that he was looking at, if it was in his price. We didn't know if it was in his price range because we hadn't pre-approved him. So I sat down and speak to him, And he told me he had 115,000. So he had 115,000 under his mattress, and
Yeah.
he wanted to buy a mobile home for the first home, and that's what he said. So I said, okay. I said, I can make it happen. The thing is, usually you have to have them in your bank account to buy
Yes.
um because we didn't know also the price range, but I called so many different title companies, and I actually found a title company that said they were willing to do it that way, that they would just meet us at the bank. They would meet us at the bank with all that money, and they would be able to close for us. So, and I had asked a couple of other people before, hey, is this possible? They said, no, you can't do that. Now I'm like, there's always a way.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be easy, but I know there's a way. So I was so happy that I called a bunch of title companies, and I was able to find one. And when we closed on the home, the little girl, she hugged me. She said this was so much better than where they lived at.
Aww.
I was like, and I'm thinking, okay, a mobile home. It was a nice mobile home, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking I wanted them to have like this huge. I had expectations, I guess, more than they did, but they said this was perfect for them, and they were
Aww.
able to take that. So he did contact me again when he was looking for his second home. So that was one that really stuck because I had no idea, like, he was waiting a couple of years to buy a home. So I just came along and I was able to help him because I could speak Spanish, but I guess that one was meant to be for me.
Yes, divine timing. I love that. And I'm glad you said that, Miss Joanna. I think your customer is your customer and nobody can take them away. There's enough for all of us. And that was divine timing. That was your customer and he was waiting on you.
Yeah, yes, it was the right time, right place,
Mm-hmm.
and that is true. I love that mentality too because there's a lot for all of us, and unfortunately, some people don't think that way. But I'm a true believer with that, that there is something for everyone. What's meant for you will be for you.
Mm-hmm. So I help rentals, you guys, and so my favorite purchase was actually a renter. So I remember she came to me. She was looking for a rental. She was moving from out of state, had a new job. She didn't want to buy right away because she wanted to fill out, the new city before she planted roots. So she told me about her background, that she had an eviction that was 2 years fresh, and people were discouraging her from renting. Well, if you know me, I'm gonna get me a yes. So we were looking around, and she was getting a no. She ended up getting a yes from another company, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Call me if you need anything. Do you know she? And so I didn't even get commission or anything off of that because the one I showed her didn't work out. She called me back when she was ready to buy. She was like, the amount we're paying to rent, we could have bought. You add up all those fees, etc., pool, lawn, maintenance, all of this. And I was like, see, I told you, because
Wow.
I always try to get them to buy, but if they want to rent, we go ahead and rent. And I'm showing her houses for 250, 350. She's like, no, I'm looking at 450 and above. I was like, oh, excuse me. So we went. She already knew. This was the easiest transaction too, you guys. She knew what she wanted. Me and the lender went out there to get the house. I had a hiccup with one lender because they were like, no, she can only get this. Well, we already had our eyes set on the house, so we needed a certain amount to get this house. So we ended up switching lenders. Everything went fine. We got her house. But I love that story because just because you rent, a lot of realtors, they don't touch them. It's not a lot of commission. It's a lot more work if you ask me. A lot more hours and stuff that you put in, and the commission just does, it's nothing like on the other side. But because I did not turn my head or nose up and say, "Ugh, I don't do rentals," she came back to me and used me for the services again to purchase her home. Now, I could have missed out on that
Aw.
blessing, for saying, oh, I don't do this. And I think in real estate, we should look at the map of real estate and be able to help. Maybe partner sometimes, but don't give
Yeah.
it a no. So that was my favorite story because a renter did become a homeowner. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had a
Yeah.
similar situation. I had someone, we started out looking at rental properties, and for some strange reason, they were not notifying her whether she was getting approved or denied. And I think we had did an application on like 3 homes. And then one day she was like, Seneshia, I found this trailer. Can we see if I can get approved for it? And lo and behold, they got approved for it, and we still to this day have not heard back from the rental company
Mm,
on the rental application that she put in. And they end up purchasing. They went from looking at rentals to purchasing a double wide on a little over 10 acres.
that's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
So imagine if you would have said, "Oh, I don't, I don't do rentals." You would have missed out on that client.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Okay,
Wow.
y'all. So we talked about the good stuff. We can't leave out the bad stuff. So, what would you say is
Oh
your so
God.
far has been your worst transaction? The one that still makes you cringe just by thinking about it.
Ugh.
Let me
Can I
let
go
me-
first?
yeah.
That same rental that turned into a 10-acre deal
Wow.
was a nightmare to get to the closing table. It was so bad to the point to where in the middle of the transaction at the table the guy said, "Give me everything that I've signed," and he walked out. We had did an extension 4 times. None
Jeez.
of it had to do with the buyer or the
Mm,
seller. It was our
mm-mm.
lender.
Horrible.
So it was something fishy going on to this day. I have not been able to quite figure out what it was, but it was the lender, and thank God the property was an inheritance, and the lady just wanted to get rid of it because she was very patient.
Mm,
We signed that contract. We went under contract in September. We didn't close till December.
mm. Wow.
So yeah,
You,
that was my worst one.
now transactions usually close. They can be quick if it's cash, but usually 30 to 45 days. So that was a long time. Four
Yes,
times. Oh my gosh.
yes.
So, okay, my transaction, this one was very challenging. So I had met this client when I was doing a showing, and this lady just like burst into the house and said, "Hey, I'm trying to look for a home. My realtor won't help me." And she was just like hysterical. I was like, "Okay, what's going on? Let's talk." And I was with another client at the time. I said, I can talk with you and see, what's going on and I can help you. But I found it really strange that her own client helping, I mean, her own realtor helping her sell her home, wasn't helping her find a new home. She told me all these things that her realtor just wasn't returning her calls, and she needed to leave. She needed to find a home in less than 2 weeks, or she was going to be homeless, and she
Oh
had
my
a dog
god.
with her. And I was so upset. I was like, "What kind of realtor does that?" Now, after I talked to her a little bit and I found her all the things that she wanted in a home, I found it. We went to see the home and we saw two or three homes that day, and they all had the things, the characteristics she wanted: a big yard, fenced in, everything that she wanted, and in her price point. And I actually got her pre approved really quickly, but then she said, "I don't want to go with your lender. I want to go with my own." So she went online, she found an online lender that she never met. He wasn't even in Jacksonville. So I said, "Okay, all right, we'll do things your way." Um,
Wow.
she didn't like actually the house that I thought that was perfect for her. She kept finding like little flaws with it. "Oh, I don't like this," but I'm like, the little flaws, like they can be fixed. Like, you don't like this.
Yes.
It was little things here and there. But I said, "But you told me you need to move in 2 weeks, and like the urgency is you need to find a home." So okay, I said, "Let's go back out and look at some more." And there was something wrong with every house. So then I said, "Okay." So I said, "I'm trying to do my best to help you, but we need to narrow it down because you don't have that much time." This client, now I'm available, around the clock, but I do have, to help other clients. And she would be calling me at 6 a.m. up to midnight, just, telling me she needs to find a home. But she just, she was not able to decide which home she wanted. So I said, "Okay." We finally did find a home, thank God, and I put in an offer for it. We went under contract, and that's when, like, I thought, oh my goodness, I thought she was already, not. It was just really, really a difficult transaction. She got really upset. Now I was able to get her a brand new roof. I got her closing, yeah, money for closing, and like nothing. And then she already had to move. They closed on her home. She has to move out of her home, and she needed a rental for about 2, 3 weeks. So I asked one of my previous clients that I remember he told me he had a room for rent. I said, "Hey, can you is it possible for you, I'm trying to help my client move now. Is it possible for you to rent one of your rooms?" And he was going to be okay with the pet. So he said, "Yeah." He's like, I'll just charge her a flat fee and she can stay here." So I said, "Okay." I even helped her move in, and she called me like the next day. She goes, "Joanna, I can't stand it here. He watches," like, she just was picking on everything he did. He's like, "He watches TV and I don't like his shows." I was like, "But you have your own
Oh
room with a
my
bathroom,
God.
and it's only for 2 weeks, like 2, 3 weeks. We close, and then that's it." She showed me like anything that said anything. Like I was getting calls like nonstop,
Oh
and
my
yeah,
God.
it was really challenging. But and that I completely forgot to tell you guys. So when it was too much, I told her, "Hey, when we weren't able to decide, I said, hey, I would think it's gonna be better if I, refer you to someone else
Hmm.
because it was too much, and I have a lot of patience." So I did that, and she didn't speak to me. She didn't want to go with anybody else. But then a realtor calls me. He goes, "Hey, Joanna. So I think I have a client of yours, and I can you please take your client back, please?" And I'm like, "What?" For another agent to like, and I didn't know who this agent was, but for another agent to say they don't want to work with someone, I'm like, "Oh."
Yes, get your
And
client back.
my
Wow.
sister told me she was like, that one's meant for you to do. It must be a lesson, and I really like I try to keep it professional. I was in the but the closing day on the closing day. She thanked me and she even offered to take me out to eat. She said, "I know I've been a little
Aw.
difficult." I said, "Yeah." Just a little bit. But
Oh my
she
God.
offered me, but yeah, she was really happy with her home. I got, like I said, she got a new roof. She got a lot of things that she said she never thought. And it was a fully renovated
Yes.
home, so she was really happy. And even the lender told me, he's like, "Joanna," he's like, "I'm changing my number."
He
He
didn't
wasn't
want
even
this
in
home.
Florida. Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that one was takes a cake.
Realtor confession. So I have
I
one.
know,
Oh
right?
my gosh. I have a new rule that I will not do family members, only my intimate family members. But I was helping a family member shop for home. And when you're close with family, I think maybe they don't take it as this is my professional career and they kind of take advantage. So we were looking at all of these homes, trying to match her profile, and none of them worked out. What she liked, the husband didn't like. What he liked, she didn't like. And it was just so much. So my patience isn't long. So I gave up so fast. I'm like, here, Miss Shanice, take this home. This is going to be a referral. So Miss Shanice was gracious enough to take that one on and, to help her finish the process. Well,
Okay.
essentially, what did she say, Miss Shanice? I'm going to get a habitat
Yeah,
house and
it was still I was like, okay, well, maybe you want to look at this, or maybe you want to look at this type of house, and it was no, those aren't big enough. I need this. We were going every weekend for about a month and a half. We went to look at homes, and I was strolling through Facebook one day, just scrolling, and I seen a picture of her with a realtor, and the message said, "Congratulations on closing." So I was like,
What?
Janisha,
talk about jaw drop, you guys. Now we sign legal contracts, binding contracts that you can get lawyers involved with, stating that
Wow.
I'm your realtor and I'm helping you with this transaction. You can't just go skippity dot do to somebody else. And we have a team that can help us win that. But I just told myself, and I was upset because I referred this to Miss Shanice, so that's making me look bad because that wasn't my intention. My intention was her to just finish it because my patience have been, had ran out. And so to see that, it's like, wow. So I'm only going to help intimate family, but we work on commission, you guys. So that means if you don't get to the closing table, there's nothing, zilch. All the houses, all the gas, all the time that we could have poured into someone else, it was like in vain. It was like a waste.
exactly.
So that
Oh,
infuriated me to this day for myself and for Miss Shanice. That could have messed up our relationship. She has children to feed. I would still be a part of that transaction. So I was going to get something anyways. And for you not to say, all you have to do is send an email or a text, as long as it's written, you guys. Thank you for your time. This isn't going to work out. However you want to word it and end it. At least we would know. But to scroll on
Yes.
Facebook and to see that, it's like a slap in the face.
after we've been
Like we
working with
put
them
our
for the
heart and our
past.
soul into this, and you couldn't even give us the courtesy of I'm going somewhere else. We had to see that online, and we gave her what she wanted. What did she end up getting, Miss Shanice? Something
The
complete.
one thing that she said she did not want. And I think what did it for me was everything that she was looking at was kind of like fixer uppers. So I even went as far as to get with the loan
Uh
officer
huh.
and switch the type of loan that she was approved for
Mm-hmm.
so that she can get one of these houses. We switched from FHA to 203K to a
Yeah.
renovation loan. And she got approved for it. Like she was able to get it.
Mm.
And then she ended up getting the one thing that she said was too small. And I think what did it for me was the lying. And I'm like,
It's enough for
she's
me.
like, oh, I'm just gonna do Happy Jacks. But
Mm-hmm.
you said you need something bigger, and I know how those houses normally run. So how
Mm-hmm.
do they fit
To start a home,
the
smaller.
qualification for what you are looking for? What, 6 people or so?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. I forgot about that transaction. That should have went down as the worst.
But guess what? We learned. We get
We
a fee
learned
for everything we do now. We're not walking away with nothing. And to be honest,
exactly,
if we want to, we can still take that to court. A contract is a contract. So it was a lesson learned.
exactly.
And now I get something regardless of what we end up doing. And I just choose not to work with, unless it's my intimate family. I just choose not to do it. Be on the
Yes,
lookout for referrals, ladies.
yeah,
But yeah, but I'm glad I learned that. Like I learned, make sure that I get paid and I can choose, like it's our business. We can choose our clients too. It's not just one way. We
Yeah.
can,
exactly.
yeah. So, oh my God. Whew. Okay. So, wow, that was a ride. That was such a ride hearing all of our different stories. We hope that you guys have enjoyed getting to know us just a little bit
Yes, thanks for tuning in to the Realty and Realty. Don't forget to follow us for more episodes.
And next week we're shaking things up a bit. We will be pulling topics from the bucket to discuss. So it could be anything. It could be real estate related. It could be family related. You won't know. So you don't want to miss out. Join us next week.
So until then, you guys keep sipping your tea and chasing those real estate dreams, and we will catch you on the next episode. Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on the Realty and Realty podcast are solely our own and do not reflect the view of our employers, companies, or affiliated organization.
All content is for informational and entertainment purposes, based on personal experiences and perspectives. All claims are alleged, and listeners should fact check through external sources. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by law and may otherwise be infringing. The Realty and Realty.